for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd look for a motion to approve the agenda with the change of over from Culver.
I'll make a motion for the agenda.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Look for a motion to approve the minutes for December 16th.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Meetings attended?
I had a 911 meeting pretty shortly. Kenny just presented the proposed budget with the different scenarios and it looked pretty much like last year, other than a few little changes. So, and then the lights were all out at the transfer station on the maintenance shed. So Joe got some LED lights. I went out and put them up a few days ago. So you guys got some lights to see.
Were they fluorescent before?
They were just 100-watt
Oh, bulbs.
yeah, so these are a lot better, so that was pretty much it.
Yeah, cold weather has a way of doing that too.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Didn't have any meetings. I did, he was out of the office, so I couldn't talk to him. Zach, Southeast Iowa. I did give him a little note on email about, is there anything possibly to help replace a generator for the public health, because that's one of the things.
Yep.
That's listed on their to-dos is public health buildings and stuff, so
Good.
hopefully we get some help.
Well, the federal government just came through with a bunch of extra funding for
Oh, yeah.
rural health, blah, blah, blah. Just came through. I got a big note from the state,
Okay.
the governor on it. So maybe that might help the
Yeah.
situation out there. And because we're definitely rural
Yeah,
and I need something that runs that. So we'll see how that works out.
other than that, I had nothing else.
I was out of town last week. I think I had a meeting the week before, but something that important, so. Actually, I think it was a meeting with you, so we'll talk about that later in the meeting. Yeah. Any public want to address the board?
I might say something about 13.
Okay.
Board of Supervisors have been appointing a conservation board member of themselves for the past several years. You had two candidates this time that you said were as well qualified, and you do the hat up for one of them. I would encourage you folks to reconsider and instead of appointing one of you to that board, to think about appointing the person that wasn't selected. Not too often that you get people wanting to serve, and that's really is what that board should be, is a private individual rather than basically a political person.
Yeah. Don't disagree with that. I could do with a little less meetings myself. So. We'll talk about that when we get down to that number. Anybody else? No? Okay. Payroll changes, I think there was just one, just a normal stuff, yeah, out of jail. Just a normal, longevity, all it was. Adam, you're just in time.
Yeah.
Anything new happening?
Not a lot, with the holidays, we're don't have a lot of guys there right now, but the office, we're working on design plans and some grant stuff and things like that. Guys have gotten the salt and sand stockpiled, so we're sitting pretty good there now.
So let's hope we don't have to use it.
Yeah. No. Other than that, the tunnel removal project up there in
by Gladwin is pretty much done, so.
Wow.
So it's all done. All of the dirt and all the rock's been hauled away and,
I'll have to drive by and take a look at it.
Did you get any pictures of that, overpass that you took out?
yes. Yep. Take them. I'll bring some here.
Before and after.
Historical Society might, want those too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Item number 8, discussion and interaction on resolution 202549. It's an interfund transfer to secondary roads from loss. 130,000.
This is for the salt shed.
Oh yeah, this is for the commitment on the salt shed that we
Yep.
said we were gonna use the lost funds on.
mhm.
Yeah.
It's done and it has been helpful.
Great. That's what we want to hear. Hopefully it'll save us a little money down the road.
Yeah.
I would look for a motion to approve resolution 202549.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 202549.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Discussion and interaction on the contract with Iowa Bridge and Culvert Project L-CO58. Adam, I don't have anything in front of
Oh, I
me.
didn't send that.
You usually bring the paper copies, so I never print anything off.
I have the office and a chance after the meeting, you can bring by and sign it.
I'm sure Joe probably hears this. She'll probably be here in about 10 minutes. No, she's not there.
No, she's on.
I
I
can-
don't
I
know if
can-
you heard you though.
I can, run back and
Okay.
grab it. bring it
Yeah,
up.
why don't you, we're gonna go through our health renewal presentation. So we'll be here a little while. I'm not the boss. Speaking of that, let's move on to item number 10. Gary's here on our health renewal. Tim and I and Susan sat down a couple of weeks ago, kind of went over it. It's been my experience that when things like this happen or come up for renewal, then the newer board doesn't quite understand what's going on. It happened to me. So what I'd like to have him do is to kind of step back and give us a review of how we got here, what the kind of a real quick generalization of the plan and how the plan works, and does that make sense?
Oh, why not?
So that you guys understand. So go ahead.
Awesome, thanks. Good morning, guys. So Jerry Corning, I'm down in Fort Madison. I work with Assured Partners. So what we are, we're kind of the middleman between your insurance benefits and you guys. So we wear a lot of hats. Some of it is help you guys with the planning and obviously selection and budget of the plans. I have a team that help Susan with day-to-day, a lot of the admin stuff, Liz, Serena. So kind of hands-on approach on the admin side. And then the last piece, kind of a liaison. So your employees, we've worked with you guys, a decade or more. So employees know our staff and really they call us with questions instead of having to call an 800 number and talking to customer service. And then we have a team that helps them day to day. So kind of 3 different buckets, right, that our team does to help you guys out. So obviously today we're focused on the cost, budgeting, kind of the plan. So I'm going to kind of rewind to when we were first hired. So what the county's done, and to be honest, most public businesses and even private businesses of your size that aren't quite big enough to take on the full risk to truly self-fund their health insurance, they do kind of what's often referred to as partial self-fund or a deductible buy down. So you guys have very rich, low deductible plans. And if we bought that through Blue Cross or any insurance carrier, super expensive, right? Because it's so generous. So what we do is we buy a worse plan. So the plan we're buying has a much higher deductible and out of pocket than what we have today. And we save a lot of premium, right, from what we pay Blue Cross. So then it's my job to help kind of budget and predict how much we're going to spend in claims, because what we do is we tell employees you have the same plan and we're self-insuring that difference. Okay, so that's what we've helped balance. And when I was first hired, I kind of got introduced because the county had a couple challenges at that time. One, the previous agent was pretty aggressive on that side fund because they wanted to try to show low rates, which
Yeah.
is sizzle, but
Yeah.
you're gonna spend down this reserve and that balance that we had built up, and that reserve was starting to get borderline critically low. And at the same time, while the reserve was going down, the plan wasn't running so hot, which is part of why the reserve was going down. They were super aggressive to begin with, and then it's not running so good, right? So then Blue Cross was giving them a big increase too. So they had a big increase, the reserve's going down. It was kind of a mess. So they got me in to help educate not only the board at the time, but also I had a lot of conversations, particularly with the sheriff department, because unions weren't real fired up when rates are going up. So we had to all get on the same page. Hey, we don't want to be in the news with this catastrophic situation because they pay 15% and you guys pay 85. So every dollar we increase, they're paying more out of their checks, right? So it was my job to help kind of educate everyone. Here's what we have to do. And everyone got on board and then we got it fixed. Okay. So that's way back when. The second challenge that we kind of had is as a small group, 70 some employees, health insurance renewals and experience or your claims is kind of like I reference like a roller coaster, right? Because you're so small that you're going to have a preemie, cancer, heart, like something's going to happen every few years and you're not big enough to absorb it, right? So you have this big spike and then they get better or like something happens and the claim goes away and then you're kind of like this, right? So how do we get, especially for public entities, how do we get like this? Unfortunately, I have to go slightly up because health insurance is a mess and it's always kind of going up. But can we go like this so it's easier to budget than like this, right? Makes sense. So what we had access to, and it's an exclusive program through our office, is with ISAC. So you guys are probably familiar with ISAC. You have a lot of partners and programs with them. Well, they created a big pool program that's only for counties to join. There's a little over 25 counties that are part of it, maybe even more. I haven't checked in the last couple of years. But we joined that back in 2022. So our first renewal was 2023. So we joined that pool. It's still with Wellmark. So everything's kind of the same, except now we're kind of in this pool with other counties. So we're much larger and we want to be like this. And it's worked really well. So our first renewal was 6%. And then the last 2 years we had 0 and 0.74. So our rates have been very, very stable. We also the last 2 years have gotten a little bit aggressive on our reserves because we built it back up. It's with the budget and the climate, with everything going on, to try to keep rate increases as low as possible for people and your employees was a big deal, right? So we kind of got a little aggressive. Okay. So now the challenge this year is our claim spiked. We had a lot more utilization. Our loss ratio, and we'll go over some details here in a minute. I'll leave a packet behind you. But our loss ratio spiked to a little over 90%. Not horrible, but higher. The good thing is we're in that ISAC pool, so we're shielded a little bit. So ISAC's only raising our rate 6%. So that's very good considering the claim spike. The challenge now this year is that reserve is taking a bigger hit. We've spent a little over 200,000 this year to date. And the last 2 years prior, we spent 190 full year. Okay. So we're taking a bigger hit to our reserve. So this year, what we talked about to them and what I want to show you is you'll see I have 3 different columns of rates. And we're proposing this year to do like an 8.5% hit instead of that 6 to try to make it so we don't keep hemorrhaging a reserve. Okay. So that's kind of the high level stuff. I've got a little bit of packet where I can show you some numbers, but I'm going to slow down because I do this all the time. And I just gave you guys a lot of information in a hurry. Do you have any questions or anything I can help and I can try to answer now, or a takeaway if you want to talk afterwards? This is complicated and health insurance is a mess. So anything I
You
can.
guys kind of understand that we have is it a 5,000? 8,000?
Your plan that you buy is actually, $5,000 deductible,
Right,
just under 7,000 out of pocket.
Right.
You buy it down to a $750 deductible, 1,500 out of pocket. So there's a big corridor risk.
so that pool of money that we use, we kind of covers that gap between the 750 and the 5,000. So, that pool of money, we were up in, 3/4-ish of a million, I think, 700,000.
Yep.
And we're down to about 500 because we had a couple of pretty good problems this last
Yeah.
year that hit real hard. And, we were pretty conservative last year. And, I think this year, unfortunately, we're gonna have to try to get that pool up a little. And, that's the numbers you have, so
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions before we go into the actual numbers behind it, how any of it works? Oh. Let me give you guys one of these. Hey, Russ Scott, nice to meet you too. Good, actually, anything else in that, if I'm missing anything, pretty good. Okay, all right, so this is the renewal packet. If you look at the first page here up top, this is busy, but this is showing, when health insurance calculates renewals, they're looking at the last 2 years of what's called a loss ratio. So how much money comes into the insurance company versus how much they spend. Okay, so you'll look in the full year of 2025, we were running very well, 73% loss ratio. That's excellent. The last year, 91. Okay, so our 2-year average is still really good at 82. The concern again that we talked about, if we stay aggressive on that side fund, is they look at 2-year averages, right? So I don't know how well I'm thinking about math, but we're gonna lose a 0.73. So next year, if we go to another 0.9, or even if we're down to 0.85, we're still gonna take a pretty good jump, right? Because we're gonna lose a really phenomenal year off that track record. Okay, now we're in the ISAC pool, so I don't anticipate all of a sudden we're gonna be back on a roller coaster again. We should, and ISAC overall is doing very well. Okay, so I don't anticipate anything catastrophic, but it is, we are gonna be probably behind the 8 ball, because I don't think, it doesn't seem like we're just gonna get that healthy that fast. We'll have years again. That's how it works when you're a small group, if you're following me. So that's another year we talked about. I don't know if this is the time to be super aggressive on that reserve again, knowing we'll probably get another decent bump next year. And then if we can hold true, we can keep that. We don't have to double hit groups like we did when I was first hired. Okay. So that's what that is. There's another opportunity for a wellness discount. We have not got that. The audit team, they've done a good job of forming kind of a committee and getting it rolling. ISAC, that's the cool thing about being part of ISAC. So they actually throw money at this because they have a self-funded plan, and the healthier we all are, the overall renewal is better, right? So they provide money and discounts and want people to participate. So they're doing a good job. It's there. Some people are participating, but to get to the discount, we need much better participation. So during the meetings this year and last year, I stressed it some. This year, I'm going to stress it hard. One thing for the future you might want to think about is, do you start trying to create a bigger kicker or window to incentivize? Some groups even put different rates out there where, hey, here's the wellness rate, here's the kind of like a tobacco, non-tobacco rate, but this is a wellness, like, guys, just participate. It's private. We don't know anything what's going on. It's meant, how many people like myself, you got a lot of, younger male that don't go get their, they have no idea they have high cholesterol. It's a heart attack waiting to happen, that type of theory, right? So here's a free wellness, try to get things done. So, that's something that we can continue to work, because it'd be huge if you could start taking advantage, because not very many health plans actually give you a discount to participate in.
You say it was 5 points?
Yep, which is pretty significant.
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a 6%, that would basically take us
Wipe
down,
it out.
wipe it all off. So and more importantly, it could save someone from having a heart. I mean, I've got some private employers that really get after this. Now they have some true self-funded plans, but yeah, they've had people come in and say, you saved my life. I mean, I had no idea I had cancer, and now they found it earlier. Can't prove you prevented it, but there's some pretty good testimonials of that. Okay, so that's kind of the behind the scenes there. Down when you flip the page. So this is showing the actual insurance. So on the left, kind of that navy blue is our current plan, and then that, I don't know, pretty ocean blue on the right side, so cold it's thinking about being on the beach, is the renewal plan. So this year, There are some slight changes to the plans. So your deductible is gonna be the same. You see what's in red is that out of pocket. So the out of pocket currently is 6,800. That's going up to 7,500. That doesn't impact employees at all because we buy that down. That's just, we're gonna have to take on a little bit more risk this year on that side fund as well, okay? And we have that budgeted in on the next slide, okay? The thing that employees will see, if you look at the bottom, and this is becoming pretty popular because pharmaceutical costs, I don't think it's a super secret, is a little bit out of control right now. So we kept the generic tier 1 the same at 10, but you'll see every other tier went up a little bit. The specialty tiers took the biggest jump from 150 to 300. But I'm telling you, my wife went through a lot, so I have some experience with some specialty drugs. A lot of those drugs, there's copay assistant cards. So the employee probably isn't paying any of that anyways, because those cards, like you see at the end of a commercial, they'll even advertise it on TV. Probably the pharmaceutical company will pay that difference. And if we can get free money from the pharmaceutical company to pay a claim, let's take advantage of it. So employees will see that. Like I said, most of that cost will be probably absorbed by a copay assistance card, but we are making that change. Again, we're trying to steer people to the generic and create a bigger spread if it's out there. So they don't just take a brand name because it's only $20, you know, and we're spending way more money on that. Okay. So you'll see then the plan up above is going up 6.2%. The bottom says 8% because that's showing what the county's portion of cost is. So since it's a smaller number, the percentage is hot. Again, that's a math thing, but the actual overall increase is just over 6%, which again, considering our loss ratio, that's good. Okay, questions? All right, cover a lot. Okay, so now is when we get into cost, and this is the way we try to make it as easy as possible for you. So we presented 3 different options for you to select from. What this is showing is that starting reserve balance at the top. So had Selena pull some numbers as of, well, it's been a few weeks ago, but within a month, that balance was 648,000 and change. Okay, that's the extra balance that pays the claims, and then a little bit of money goes to a third party that administers and does all the processing for us to do it. Okay, so then you'll see the next one is the premium. So option 1 is the lowest and option 3 is the highest because the rates are lower or higher. So if you did, that's how much money we're going to collect between what the county's 85% and what you're taking out of the employees' checks, right? So that premium comes in, then we have to pay ISAC for their plan. That's the same because we pay them the same for the actual insurance, no matter what. And then that leaves, you'll see what's left over is to pay for our partial, right? So option 1 only leaves 129,000, and option 3 we have almost 245 left over. If you're following me, right? Because we collect money in depending where we set the rates. We have a fixed cost that we pay Wellmark, and then we get the leftover for us. Does that kind of follow me there? Okay. So then we have what we're budgeting for claims. We are bumping up that expense because if you look down at the bottom, 2024 was 194 claims. The prior year to that was 195, so pretty consistent, which is pretty common. This year, again, year to date, so we still have a few months to go, and we're already at 223. So this year was a much hotter year in claims. So we're going to budget 235 in, right, to cover that amount. There you see the admin. So we spend $7,000 for a third party to make sure it's all legal, compliant, file everything, pay all the claims. And then that will leave the reserve balance. So if we do a 0 increase this year, again, it would projected to reduce our budget by over 100,000. So obviously I would recommend not doing that, you know. So then option 2, the 4.5 would leave 52,000, and the 8.5 would leave a $2,000 surplus. Now that's assuming we spend 235, right? Which hopefully we don't. But that's the other nice thing is if you do option 3, which is the one we kind of talked about, and do the 8.5, if we run a lot better, that's our money. It's not like insurance where Wellmark gets to keep it, right? That stays in our reserve. So then next year, if we have a higher increase, let's say we have an even worse year and now our 2-year average is much higher, we would have a little bit extra surplus to say, okay, now next year, let's go 2% left, like, let's rob the reserve. So we try to go like this instead of like this for employees. And that's, employees like stability. And if we can manipulate that reserve to keep stability, in my opinion, that's a huge win. So then you'll see at the bottom, the current rate's the 847 and the 1900, a little, roughly. And then you'll see those different options on 1, 2, and 3. And again, if you're trying to do the math of what employees pay, they pay 15%. So these are monthly rates. So if you do 15% of current and 15% of option 3, you'd see the difference. Should have jotted it down. That's what it would be for the employees' cost, okay? So that's really what you guys need to decide. Knowing the plan's gonna be the same outside of those slight copay changes that we can't control. Do you want to do option 1, 2, or 3? For employees' costs and balancing that reserve fund are the two things you have to kind of weigh. Questions? Well, it's a lot.
We did a slight increase last year, didn't we?
0.74.
Is that okay?
So pretty slight. And the year prior was 0. And the year prior to that was only 6. So we really haven't had, and 8.5, to be honest, is not horrible. I mean, we've been spoiled. I mean, there was years prior to being an ISAC that mid-teens, 15, 16, 18%. I mean, if you have a bad year and you're on your own, you're gonna feel it a little bit.
So on the single rate, if I calculated correctly, the overall, if we go to the 8.5, we'll go on the single plan, we'll go up $72.03. And the employee portion is $10.80.
That's per month. So you roughly cut it in half just for easy math. It's not quite because you have 26 instead of 24, but
$5.
$5 a check. And then it's pre-tax. So if they took that $5 in in salary, they're paying taxes on it. So you got to take probably at least 20. So that's getting in the weeds a little bit, but
Roughly
they're not gonna net
$12
change
per
much.
pay.
Per month.
Per paycheck. Per month, it would be $24.27. Now, the one thing that worries me is that we're year to date right now, our claims are 223,000. We still got 6 months left in the year to get to the end of June. And we're already at 223 compared to 194 for the entire year, the previous year.
Now, that's a great concern, but what's good about it and why I don't anticipate that to keep on rapidly going is each person has a set max. Because once they hit Wellmark max, it pays. So we have roughly call it $5,000 max per person. So a lot of what's driving those claims, once those people hit that max, so it's a big cancer claim or a big, when I was saying babies up at NICU.
Right.
Well, we paid that $5,000. Wellmark's gonna keep paying claim, which isn't great for that renewal, but we're done. Like we're pretty.
Yeah.
That's why it's not that big
Unless we
self
have
funding.
some-
We need all kinds of new stuff.
Unless we have something, right.
Yeah, we need,
Right.
and even on a new claim, it costs us $5,000. So like a claim, $5,000. I'm not trying to belittle $5,000, but
Right.
on these numbers, $5,000 isn't really moving our needle, right? We would need like a bunch of people in the next 6 months to have a pretty significant claim. So while he's right, I just don't want to scare you. Think, oh my God, that's gonna be $500,000. And that isn't it can, but it's not gonna happen.
Even at 8.5%, we're basically breaking even.
Yeah.
We're not putting a whole lot back for a rainy day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're hoping that to put it back in, you run way better, which will eventually happen. But I like it too, to keep it breaking even so that if next year is really bad again, like we have these big ongoing claims, that we can rob it on a bad year. Say ISAC gave us a 10. Well, it'd be nice to say, let's get after the reserve and make that an 8. So we have 2 8s
Yeah.
instead, like I'm trying to buffer that employee hit as much as possible, and we haven't done anything in 3 years. I mean, they're still way ahead of what most people are, because how many people can raise their hand and say their health insurance hasn't changed in 3 years? I mean, not very many. Not very many. And just like you guys too, your budget, you know, it's being an ISAC's been a huge win. Just trying to get ahead of it, so we're all not having a really rough conversation, both for you and employees.
Well, we sat down a couple weeks ago and talked about it, and I didn't really want to raise it too much, but after looking at those numbers, it's kind of like, eesh. You know, if we want to have a little nest egg there in case something bad happens. Want to rob it too much. I don't know, what do you guys feel?
I was just trying, my head to kind of wrap around. We haven't been giving out much for raise either, you know, so.
It's true.
But I'm just.
Hey,
That's
hey.
what I, you know, it's gonna be, for a family, it would be about close to $300 a year increase.
And that is exactly why the last 2 years, they were aggressive with it,
Right.
because they're like, well, we haven't been doing this, so let's get aggressive, and that's where it kind of caught up to it, right? So we were aggressive, and now it's gonna happen, you're gonna have, and I'm not trying to throw people that have claims under the bus, I mean,
Right.
it happens, that's why we have
Right.
insurance. But now we gotta pay for it as a group. And when do you make that? tough
And you
call?
got an interesting angle on the wellness part of it. It's gonna save us five points. You know, we have a year we're at 9. At 9.
Or 8, something.
Yeah.
Today, the Walmart piece was 6.2, the 8 point, that's your portion,
Yeah,
6
right.
point, so we would go, if we would have qualified for the wellness instead of the 6.2, we'd have been 1.2.
Yeah.
Which is like,
Right.
great, we're not
Yeah.
looking at an 8.5% increase
Right.
overall, not even close.
Exactly.
If we were looking at a 1.2% increase.
And
That wellness just paid for that bad year of claims.
Yeah,
And I don't want to force it on anybody, but he's got a good point. Maybe the people that are in the wellness program get the discount. And the people that aren't in the wellness program, if they choose not to be on, that's fine. But I don't know how you're gonna calculate that.
Yeah,
Budget.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. And we can talk to people, if you wanna be slow play that, we can talk to them, hey, this is out here. This year,
You're only used to it,
because
so-
this is coming, we're probably gonna have to start not enforcing, but making you pick. It's kind of like a good driver, bad driver discount, right? Are you gonna speed a bunch, you have a bunch of tickets, you're gonna pay more.
Right.
And we're not saying you have to be healthy, you don't just participate, that's all we're saying. It's not like you have to do all these classes, you have to quit smoking, it's just,
So they just sign up that I mean.
no, I can't remember all the
They give
details.
you a free
Yeah, you
Fitbit.
gotta,
I'm on it, I think Susan's on it.
Yep. well,
And Selena's on it that I know of. And it's kind of interesting to see how many steps you do in a day and your heart rate and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of interesting, but essentially that's really all you do. And then you go online, and if you have your checkup, you put that on there that you had your checkup and when the date was, and
what I could do, so ISAC, they invest in it, they have a dedicated person, I think her name's Molly. I think so, that runs that program, so if you wanted to, I could have her join a meeting. And I mean, they want all the counties to participate, right, because they want to keep all your claims, I mean, it's good for our group, right, the better the pool is, the better that initial number is, right, so she would be thrilled. Probably do remote if that'd be okay, because they're in Des Moines. But she would be thrilled to join a meeting, and she can get in all the weeds, because that's kind of outside my, because that's an ISAC program, not a me program. But she would love to talk about it.
Maybe that one could be with the department head meeting, with the department heads.
Yeah.
Not necessary- I mean, if that's more
Instead of
beneficial to
this,
the department
yeah.
head meeting. To get the department.
Maybe we do that and get them on board.
Yeah.
And then, because we're way ahead of this, right? That's another nice thing with ISAC is we get our renewal now, even though this kicks in July. So we're way ahead of it. So we can maybe coordinate that wellness call with them and say, okay, let's get a message. And then when I go around, it's not just me telling them, it's the department heads kind of championing, guys, this is free money. You know, this is real. We took this increase. It wouldn't have happened if we do this. Let's kind of rally call.
What percentage of employees do you need to?
I want to
Qualify
say, is
for
that to
that.
get the max, I think it's 75.
I think you're right.
I think, again, Molly would know for sure. I apologize. I don't have that
I
program.
think we're hovering below 25% right now.
You really, having the department heads, the counties.
75% of the people that are in this medical.
Right.
Yeah, it's all the people that are on the health, which is the vast majority of
Right.
employees because you guys pay a lot and it's really
Right.
good insurance. So most people are on it.
Yeah,
You have maybe a few waivers, but not very many. And it's just employees, it's just employees doing it. But if you have the counties that thrive are the ones that have good department head leadership, because that's, pick someone in that department people look up to and, the outspoken, we all know
Right.
kind of that's how personalities and kind of the work world works, right? And then if you get those people on board, kind of that old, role model type person, especially if it's like younger kids, I pick on my size, the younger, they don't know what, they can kind of motivate them to, hey, do this. So maybe that's the strategy this year is, let's get that call. I love that. Molly would be to the moon if you gave her access to talk to those folks and try to sell it
Well, helping ourselves.
and help
And
yourself.
more than
And
one way.
And if this year where you feel it, and that message even hits home even more, like, hey, we're having to do this. And we've proven that we've robbed the budget in the past. So it's not like, hey, we did this. Now, if next year runs really well, it's not like, oh, we're gonna keep all this money. We have a track record of getting more aggressive to buy down. So we proved to the employees, and a lot of them trust me. I mean, I've worked with you guys for decades, so a lot of employees trust. When I talk to them, they know who I am. So they would know, hey, if this goes better, next year, maybe we can
Now, the previous years, the totals, there were 700,000. Do you have those, the previous
Yeah,
years?
so we were in 2023, our reserve was 587. In 2024, we were 601. This is the start, 601. Last year we were 703, so we had a huge increase. This year we're down to 648. And that's not normal to see a little, because again, we're small. I mean, we're 70 lot, but you're still relatively small, right? So that's seeing a little bit of that fluctuation. But again, where I would say you really can't, I mean, you could do it and you have reserve, but like if we did another zero, I mean, to rob 113 out of a six, I mean, that's pretty big. Like, I think the days of back-to-back zero, to have 3 zeros in a row would be, okay, when are you gonna have a really tough conversation, because you're really getting after it.
Yeah.
so this number that says, I'm on this page,
Yep.
the numbers that said, like on here, it says a family goes from 1900 and change up to 2065.
Yep.
But that, they only go up a portion of that?
So they pay 15% of that.
Okay.
You guys pay 85. So that's what, and I didn't double
Right.
check his
Sean
math,
did the numbers.
but that's
$24 and
About 25 bucks.
and that's per month. So then for easy math, just cut in half. I mean, it's
Yeah.
per
not
pay period.
exactly, but if you just cut that in half, that's when he was figuring that.
Yeah.
Per check change for a family. And again, that's a pre-tax deduction, so their net would be at least 20% less than that. Because they're gonna save money in taxes by paying it. And I certainly would let them, I mean, because they hear me, they get the whole 15% thing, because we talk about where to purchase drugs, we talk about doing telehealth instead of ER, so they're used, when I say they, employees are used to me trying to talk about, wait, like, we're all on the same team, a lot of them, because you don't have a lot of turnover, so a lot of them worked here 10 years ago, and they remember when we were in a little bit of a mess. So, you know, that's the beauty of you guys trusting me for as long as you have, as employees see that and we gain that trust, you know, when I talk to them every year.
And so 85% of this, that we're trying to discuss this now, because then those numbers, whatever percentage we're at, then that gets transferred over to our budget, so we know where our budget's at. So this is kind of an important thing to know where we want to be, so that we can start working on our budget numbers.
And even with option three, it's showing a 2,000 surplus, but that's probably not gonna be the case, because we still have months to go, so.
You know, and what bothers me is next year, we got a 2-year average, we're dropping off a good year, we're keeping the bad year. The question is, what is the next year gonna be? Is it gonna be another good year, or is it gonna be another bad year?
And if we take a little hit now, because there's sometimes you have a bad Wellmark year and a good partial, because let's say you have two really, really bad claims, Wellmark's gonna pay potentially $1 million, like there's no cap, right? And where we pay 5, so they're not always correlated, so that's why I like, to this point, you know, there's a decent chance Wellmark's gonna sting a little bit more next year. And if we can take a small bump, I mean, we're not even getting super aggressive, I mean, $2,000 of surplus is not like a swimming.
We're maintaining.
We're
Yeah.
maintaining, so that next year we don't get double hit.
We're treading.
And if we have a good partial year, then we can rob it again. So it's, you're making a slight, in my opinion, you're making a slight pain this year to prevent a noticeable change next year, where now it's, okay, now they're really gonna feel it, because we're having to give them a double-digit increase.
And look back and go, oh, why didn't we just do a couple little
Yeah,
increases instead of one big major one?
that's what we're trying to, in my opinion, what you're considering trying. Keep it, again, keep it like this, especially knowing you've had two basically zero.
My recommendation would be due to option 3.
Yeah.
And after we sat and talked about it, as much as I'd like to not give that, we're basically maintaining our surplus at option 3. Any other option is we're decreasing it, so.
Yeah, that's barely gonna maintain it, I mean.
Yeah, we're not getting it, and I can tell the crew, it's not like we're
Yeah,
rocking it, we're maintaining, that's a good, we're maintaining
Yeah,
at this level. And it's good, you know, a bad year is 8.5 is, I wish I could say that to all my.
a lot better than what my personal insurance property and all that's been doing the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Talking 40% there, 30, so. But do we need a motion on that, or?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we go with option 3.
I'll second
any other discussion? Thank you for explaining that for us, and
Yeah,
get a handle on it for the next few years anyway.
Oh, of course, yeah, I know a lot of new faces, and I can give you my card when we leave, I mean, I'm very accessible, so if you got questions, I'm happy to. Okay.
Here, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Adam ran back with this contract. Start date, March 2nd. March 2nd. And I see liquidated damages of $250 a day. You got 30 work days to get it done. Not including weather. Guess we'll look at it, it's fine, but other than that, I would look for a motion.
yeah, I looked at it online there. It's
Okay, I'd look for a motion then.
Where's that at?
One of them is on X Avenue up, northwest of Columbus Junction, the other is west of Waffle, north of, Virginia Grove. I'll make.
I knew you there, just give me your address.
I don't have an address.
One of them is on Q Avenue. I don't recall the address, but it's the first bridge north of Virginia Grove there. North of 65th Street. And the other one is on X Avenue, which would be north of 165th Street.
The little bridge before you get to that dip on going to Virginia Grove.
Yep.
It's a little bitty one. Hardly notice it when you go over it. Okay.
I'll make a motion to. Thank you. For project LC058.
Okay,
I'll
Second.
second it.
okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. You want today's date on that, Adam?
Sure.
Okay. We did number 11 already. Number 12, possible action. Appoint Richard Booster to Conesville to benefit his side district
This is the Louisa County
portion of.
portion of it, yeah.
I think last year it was Donnie McCullough.
It's kind of like.
Is it
switches off
every year, the 12 months,
Uh,
1 year appointment?
I think they've done it every
I
year.
think it's like 3.
But,
It's not on our,
Donnie's the one that
oh,
was.
it is on here.
It's
Yeah,
it's on a 3-year term because Muscatine has 2 people, Louisa County has 1 person.
Okay, yeah, and he was on it before, so he's
Yeah.
just renewing.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Okay. Well, I need a motion for that.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to approve Richard Loser to Conesville Fire District.
okay,
Second.
discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I got Don McCullough on here till the 2026.
Yeah, he's through Muscatine.
Okay. All right. Item number 13 is discussing the board appointments. Finished that a little bit before the meeting. I'll go through it again. The Board of Health at the top, we've got 2. Randy Griffin said he would do it unless we found somebody that was gun ho. I don't particularly have that, so I guess I would recommend keeping him on there. Jacinta is our health administrator. She does not want to be on it, but Lee is working on another person. I haven't heard if she's made that contact yet. Moving down to county conservation. Last week we pulled the name out of the hat and Josh was put back on. Jim, before the meeting, or actually the beginning of the meeting, said something about perhaps taking the supervisor off and putting on the other person. Guess what's your feelings about that? I think the reason the supervisors went on, to be honest with you, is they felt that the board ran amok and they wanted to have some oversight. Not gonna speak for themselves, but I can read the handwriting on the wall, and I think that's why they did it. They put a supervisor on to kind of oversee everything. I actually kind of enjoy it, but,
Well, I've heard,
I don't know, whatever you wanna do.
a lot of comments that it's nice that there's a supervisor there. And
I think trying not to pat myself on the back, but I think it probably depends on the personality. You could put, whether it's a supervisor or a board member, it doesn't matter. You get the wrong personality on there, and it makes life hell on everybody. So, I kind of feel like it's doing well now. Kind of the one that wheel ain't broke, don't fix it, but
I believe from what I was informed of in the past, from the previous.
yeah, right.
Was that the reason why they were on there was because per state law, code, whatever it is, that the supervisors are designating tax money to these organizations of these different places. And that's why they are entitled to have a supervisor on the board. And since that was within their code, that they opted to do that. Right, wrong, or indifferent, but this is not the only board
Right.
that the supervisor has a seat on in the county.
And I don't disagree with that, and I think the way I use my role there is basically financial. I try not to steer the board in any certain direction other than when they want to spend money, and I've made this comment before, okay, where's the money coming from? Where is that in your budget, and keeping them on task with the financial side of it. But,
Well, I think that's what we was elected for, is to
we'll oversee that.
oversee that on not just that board, all boards, so.
And I agree with Jim, we had two good applicants. It's hard to find people that want to volunteer, and I don't want to feel like we shun anybody that wants to volunteer.
In relation to the budget issue, you always have control of the budget. You'll have control of that budget in a few weeks when you vote on that. And that, I think, is where you have the major control. What you're doing by having a member on there is you're basically telling the other four, not in so much any words, and he's right, he's real good at not steering things that way. But in the back of somebody's head, if a supervisor, if you're one of those other four, somewhere along the line, you're gonna have in the back of your head that you can't disagree, because he's only got to convince two other people that his position is correct. And that can come back to you folks and it happened that way with the Board of Health. I don't know how many of you recall what happened there, but you had an individual there that was a supervisor, and he supported a decision by the Board of Health concerning a financial thing. The minute he came back and presented that to the Board of Supervisors, the other two were opposed, and he switched. He quit wearing the Board of Health hat, which you knew was gonna happen, and he put on the Board of Supervisors hat, but he did it after meeting with the Board of Health. And
that was wrong, in my opinion.
You know it's gonna happen, because
Yeah.
the supervisors is gonna be the predominant board that's gonna be the one that has the biggest pull.
That's another, I keep beating the bush on this, another reason why it's difficult when you have 3 supervisors and not 5. Because all you have to do is convince 2 people. That's all you got.
Or you gotta convince one.
Well, right,
To vote
if
with you.
it's my opinion, all I have to do is convince one of these 2 guys to get the way I want.
Correct.
Exactly
And-
why we need 5.
That, I don't disagree
And
with
not
that.
letting the board convince other people why we don't.
What we need to do is figure out financially how to do that without an impact on the county to
You
get.
a
A wider-
readjust the wages is what you do. You know that. We've had that discussion about readjusting the wages within the same budget.
And
I think we're clear off topic there.
I didn't start it.
Yeah, no, I did.
Well, I started it, but.
No, I
But the
get
board
it.
held
It-
happened
That's
there.
how it goes. Randy?
Jim has a valid point. I don't disagree. Except with the board member sitting on that committee. You have the insight of what was discussed there. So you can explain it to the other two at this meeting, where you do have control of the purse strings. I don't disagree with that, but with a board member not sitting on that committee, you don't have that information on why they want to raise
Right.
or spend for this
Right.
item.
Right.
Jacob doesn't, the director, I shouldn't use names.
Yeah.
The director isn't here at every meeting
Right.
to explain to the other two on, well, why did they buy firewood?
Right.
Uh,
Exactly.
it-
Why are we cutting it ourselves? And that discussion that did come up.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And I tried to use an example
Yeah, right.
that did.
Yeah.
But you are at both meetings and can kind of
Answer
fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
Maybe you won't be able to specifically on something, but maybe you can on why they want to spend $50,000 on a shelter at Eden Park.
Now, the only other thing you could do is make the supervisor a non-voting member and just be there for advisory type stuff and put another member on, so let them vote. That could happen too.
You actually do that now with Kevin. He attends the planning and zoning
Zoning.
commission meetings.
So you're not
He can make a pretty
voting member.
Detailed report, so. It's working a lot better with the current board than I think it did in the past.
I agree.
That's not to say that if something happens to you three or even one or two of you, that
It can change.
changes.
Oh, yeah, I could.
And you get into this rotational habit, that there's always gonna be a supervisor on these boards. Then you run into the problem of how many people are gonna wanna apply in the future.
Agree. And maybe it's something we don't need to do right now, and it's just something that we can think about and decide if you wanna make it. Go there.
Yeah.
We'll take it under advisement, we'll have some more discussions, see what we do. Moving along, Military Veterans Commission, like two are up. I'm gonna see if maybe,
So they're gonna be asking what one.
yeah, see if maybe he can't make some contacts and. I don't see Andy very often, but Jeanette was up at the office up there, and I don't see her. We talked about Matt. There's another person on the trustee of Columbus Benefit of Fire. He's not on there, but there's another person.
Where's that?
On the Columbus Benefited Fire, that other one that's highlighted. Matt is not on there.
No, we just voted for
We
that.
put someone else on there.
It
We're
just
just
gets
running-
changed, I gotta figure.
No, that was Conesville.
Oh, that was kind
That's
of, okay.
There's someone else. We gotta find that out.
Okay.
Dr. Towner is okay. I made contact with, them. He's good to go. Michelle dropped off the Board of Adjustment, a few months ago. So we're gonna have to,
She also dropped off plans on.
but that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we need?
I think Brian said that was okay, but I think even with losing her, it was okay is what he
Yeah.
told me, but might not hurt to get another one.
Okay,
Cause I know he's had trouble in the past with people showing up to make quorum.
that's a fine.
Are there people on the planning and zoning board who are also on the board of adjustment? I don't understand why you'd want the same people on there.
I don't see any repeats.
Since you just said something, that lady that dropped off.
She was on both.
Yeah, it would make sense to have them on, two people on that board, same boards.
So you get the checks and balances, right?
I thought Brian said that there was an alternate on his board of adjustment.
Could have been. Is that, you need 5, you don't need 6. It's an even number, so.
I believe Randy Hogue was the alternate.
Yeah, he's on there,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the last board adjustments meeting I went to, they were all present. So.
Yeah, and at the meeting, he announced that Randy was the alternate.
Right.
I think we just leave it at 5 and not worry about it. I mean, do that something else. Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Board. I don't know why this one's in blue with a bunch of question marks. Has it just been an open seat for like forever?
Yeah.
Okay. And Kevin and Sean is on it, Allworth. And we'll see if we can come up with something on that one. Are you okay, Kevin, with staying on it?
Yeah,
I don't think the meetings are too strenuous, are they?
they're not, and I'm just starting to get into the wheel, if I'm
Yeah.
just saying. It takes a while.
I'll talk to, Sean Allworth. I'll probably talk to him here for the end of the year on some other personal business, and we'll see if he wants to stay on. Bill's not here today. Technical Advisory Board. I'd like to maybe look for someone else on that board.
Okay,
I don't have anything personal against Bill. And just maybe like to find another person, so let's work on that. Jake, they just had their Historical Preservation Commission meeting while I was gone last week, their last one. I can talk to Kathy Vance and see, I'll call her. Planning and zoning, Michelle's off. I talked to Alex, he's gonna stay on. So we're okay there. That's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's still 6. It's kind of weird.
well, I was on that board one time, and it's good to have 6, because
Not everybody shows up.
there's a lot of times where at least one person wasn't, so.
Okay, fair enough. Mississippi Valley Workforce,
I can stay on that.
the next 3 are me, the Judicial District, the Area Crime Commission, and the Juvenile Detention Board. I think someone else needs to rotate into that, and the meetings are not, I think they're quarterly, so they're not hard. It is
Does the same
interesting.
person need to be on all 3 of those, is that?
Not necessarily, it's not required, however, they are intertwined,
Okay.
believe it or not, and it does help to be able to understand the nuances if you're on with that.
I can take them, I guess.
At least one rotation through, it's just a 1-year term,
Mhm.
so. Landfill board, Scott, I'd be actually kind of interested in, I've never been on that board. So if you wanna give up that, oh, you're not up on that one,
it's,
a perpetual appointment. You can stay on that, I don't care. Kevin, Southeast Area
Yeah, I can stay.
Action, okay. Decategorization Board,
I can stay on there. I still don't know if I fully understand. They just haven't, I've attended several Zoom meetings that they have. It's they take money from the judicial system that's left over and basically give it to different youth programs is,
I've never been on it.
yeah,
You gotta figure it
doesn't
out.
amount to a lot of it.
Early childhood, I've been on that one, at least 2 years, might be 3. Someone probably ought to rotate into that one.
I can take
The
that.
meetings are in Mount Pleasant, every month. They usually have them at the library. Cindy's on it too, so Cindy will be there. And, it's a lot to do with, child daycares and the food programs and stuff, so.
I can take that one, yeah, that would kind of, community actions.
Okay. Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Development Loan Committee. Mark and Bill are up.
Probably,
Bill's been out of the banking industry for a while. I think I'd like to get.
well,
That,
Mark's out of the two,
yeah,
and so
I'd like to get some fresh faces.
it probably should be.
And I don't
right?
think they meet hardly at all,
Yeah.
but, we'll spread your feelers out, see what we can do on that one. Pioneer Cemetery. Jim, Brian, Hall, and Kyle are all up. I wouldn't have a problem going on one of those. I kind of enjoy history and that kind of thing. So I can take Brian's spot, even if I'm not a future supervisor, I can still stay on that.
Yeah.
So fill me in on where Brian's at.
Okay.
And Jim's not here today. I don't know Kyle. Anybody know Kyle? I don't know him.
He's up from Grandview. I know the name, but I don't know him. I think Joellen knows him. I could have her get contacted.
I'll see if they're interested in staying on there. The rest of them are good, I guess. Unless you guys want to change them. Emergency Management Commission, Scott, you're on that one.
I'm fine, I guess.
Okay. Highway 61 Coalition,
Yeah.
that'll be 10 years before that's done. Louisa Development Group, I'm on that one, I can stay there. Louisa County Safety Committee and Department Head, I'm okay with that. And unless you guys want it, I'm not trying to keep it, if you want it, just speak up. Russ,
I'm
and
fine.
got your feet under you on that one?
Yeah, I'm fine. with that
Okay.
one.
The big one, Lower Cedar Watershed. You sure you can handle that one? All right. Eastern Iowa Port Authority, there's another big one.
Yeah,
Gotta oversee our ports on our rivers. Which we have none. And the complex building, I'm okay overseeing that. That's it.
It'll be in the agenda next week to approve the appointments.
Other than the ones that we don't really have questions
Right.
for, so there'll still be some melons on the list.
okay.
Okay. I don't have anything else on the agenda unless somebody wants to.
Yeah.
I wanna go back to this lost money that you
Yeah.
put in the secondary roads.
Yeah.
Correct. I understand the secondary roads get 60 to 70% of our budget anyhow. I'm close there somewhere, I don't care about the numbers. So we're putting that much more in there, are we short on the secondary road, or is the secondary road at the end of the budget year, if they got excess, does it go back into the general fund?
No.
So how come we don't put the 130,000 in, or whatever number was, in general fund where we can use it all over the county instead of just a secondary road? They're not short, they're not, question that.
Adam?
Well, now, Adam's not the one that did it.
No,
You
he
got-
can answer the question.
Okay,
I can answer the question.
you gotta talk loud, Adam.
Okay,
Grab that.
so, a couple of things, when that was passed by the, voters back in the day, right? It was supposed to go towards emergency vehicles, county infrastructure and things like that, right? So,
So the three items that you're talking about, that kind of.
yes, it can also go for any legal county expense, and that would be wages and things like that, all that, so,
Okay, question is not to interrupt you,
Yes.
but questions I go or I lose train of
yes.
thought. If the sheriff's department just had a bunch of cars wrecked, is this secondary road go into their budget at all?
No.
I mean, it looks to me like
Uh,
that's gonna come out of general fund.
Yes,
So we can't, it seems like we got money, but it's in the wrong place.
so the reason we have money in secondary roads is because we have judiciously spent it on secondary roads things. That this money was taxed by the tax, or, was taken from taxpayers. And it needs to be spent, so it's a debate as to what the best long-term spending of it is. And frankly, we never got an extra dime from the county. So this was an opportunity for us to spend this money in a manner that would be the best, I guess, so.
On a qualifying project,
Yeah.
Okay, what would you say?
on a qualifying project.
As a board chair, my philosophy with the lost funds, and whoever the next board chair is, their philosophy could change. And my philosophy is, I'm not gonna use lost funds that was voted on by the taxpayers for infrastructure items. I'm not gonna use lost funds to shore up the budget for wages. That's not what it was voted to be used for, and I'm not gonna use it that way. I will use those funds in such a manner that the taxpayers voted for, which was buildings, radios, whatever. that
Emergency
is.
presidency, stuff like that.
Assets, not wages.
Okay, I agree with you a hundred
That's
percent
my
on that.
philosophy.
But 60 or 70% of the budget to secondary roads is a very big percent. And now he says he don't have anything left over. Well, any business.
I never said that.
I did not say that
Okay,
at
you
all.
said you got money
Yeah.
left over at the end of the year.
Yes.
And now he still needs 100.
Well, we agreed that 130,000 months ago. How much of it came out, what was the salt shed total? I can't remember.
250,000.
So we had just agreed to pay 130, and then the rest of it came out of the road fund. So this was months ago, but we're just now transferring the money to
Yeah.
fill our obligation.
Right.
So,
Oh, I just wanted to know where the money was, 130,000 was being spent when we got a shortfall and everything else. But the secondary roads is already getting a good share of the tax money.
I'm gonna say something.
Go ahead.
So, the secondary roads gets about 4.8 million a year. 2/3 of that is from gas tax, okay? And only a third of our budget is from property taxes. And it's always been at the minimum, the absolute minimum that the county can give us, okay? So with the money that we get, we have spent it responsibly. And what happens to that extra money, right? It goes in the account. It also helps keep the county afloat some. And then when we have big projects, we can take that out, right? I'm gonna use part of that money next year to repave, Russell Street in Oakville. Okay, that's coming from that extra. I have a bridge that's gonna cost $700,000 in 2029. So we save money, don't spend it, right? And then we can use it again. If we had a flood and, last flood in, what was that, 19? We spent $900,000 out of that reserve for it. We eventually got paid back about 600,000 or so. You know what I'm saying, so that's our account when disasters happen, when motor grader breaks down or something like that, so.
Now, this was a question. It wasn't a statement to say if anybody's doing anything wrong. I'd like to know where the money's being spent. My taxes go up every year and everybody else's does too. It seems like mine goes up a lot more.
Than anybody
Just thought
else.
I'd point out. I think-
Yeah, well, I think you're wrong.
It seems to me.
Okay.
So that's just the
Yeah.
question I wanna know.
Well,
And I know you don't, go ahead.
thing about your taxes too, a lot of it goes up, not because the rates go up, it's because the value, the assessed value of it goes up, and we're dealing in an inflationary area that my house I bought for 145,000 is magically worth 200 now. You know, and nothing's changed on it, right?
But
But
Louisa County is what, the sixth most taxed state for? We don't even have a stoplight anywhere in this county, people. Something's out of whack. I don't care, anybody tell you that, it doesn't matter. My next question is, and you don't have it off the top of your head, but how many, I guess I'm gonna ask, the maintenance per mile on a gravel road is, what do you figure the average is?
they say on a gravel road, used to be about $2,000 a mile, it's probably
Well, 2,500
per year.
a mile, yeah. per year.
That's a good
Yeah.
figure to use.
Yeah. You know, rock, right?
Well, I understand what it's for, but you got secondary roads, you got roads that's not used as much as F Avenue, Spring Street, and that's why I'm asking, so not to hide anything from you, but you got Spring Street that one guy lives down. You got F Avenue that, 200 people use it every day, so
Are,
there's a difference there, I realize that.
Are-
They have-
are you asking whether we treat F Avenue different than?
Sure you do, I
Yeah,
know that,
yeah.
I'm just asking the average, because I don't think you have a correct number for F Avenue anyhow,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't know how you figure that.
You know,
So,
usually,
over Spring Street.
usually based upon traffic, right? You know, we've got some pretty heavy gravel roads that get 300 or 400 vehicles a day, right? Those probably cost us $5,000 a mile, with the blading and the rocking and the mowing and the treeing and all those other things versus, let's not talk about Spring Street, because that's a different issue, but another low end gravel road probably doesn't get any rock in here. It gets mowed and it gets bladed, but it doesn't get a lot of rock. So,
Again, I guess I'm not making a statement to get anybody in trouble, I'm just questions, that's all I'm asking, so,
sure.
and I got it, so thank you.
No,
Anybody else? I'd look for a motion for adjournment.
I move.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I.
Meeting's adjourned.